Welcome to the latest edition of New Haven Vlog News Summary Direct from our assignment desk, otherwise known as my Compost Heap. Let's see what stories we're working on at this hour. Well, I got my mask ready so I can go to the downtown courthouse and be big and bad and scary like those chicken shit ICE agents who are coming to courthouses in masks, terrorizing people and arresting them for offenses having nothing to do with why they're there at the courthouse. Chief Justice Raheem Mullins of the Connecticut State Supreme Court issued a new policy this week saying we do not want people, including law enforcement agents, coming masked to courthouses unless there's a health reason, and not coming to make arrests without judicial warrants the way ICE has. Great policy, great statement, but as Justice Mullins acknowledged, they can't force ICE to follow, so we're saying pretty please ICE follow. It's going to be a long haul to see if they'd ever consider doing something that was for the good of the public. Well, build, build, build was the mantra in New Haven this week. Policymakers, elect officials came from all over the country, the Omni, for a conference on the hot, big new idea, YIMBY. It's called YIMBY Town, yes, in my backyard. Let's build more housing. Let's get rid of old regulations that are in the way. Let's embrace density. So it's exciting. There are a lot of great topics covered, including how to keep environmental issues in mind. But some people were missing, and that was by design. The conference did not invite in Governor Len Lamont to come in the home state. Matter of fact, they made a point of not inviting him because they were angry that he vetoed a housing bill, affordable housing bill he should not have vetoed. They could have engaged them instead and then maybe advanced their cause. They didn't invite any fire officials, as they brought all these people saying we got to get rid of a rule that has 2 stairwells have to be in these apartment complexes rather than 1 for fire safety. So they talked to the converted, but they actually have a fire chief in New Haven, John Austin Jr., who would have loved to have come. He's a national expert on fire safety and fighting fires, who had a lot of serious points that are going to come up when they try to get these laws passed, that it would have helped to engage rather than not invite them. Similarly, Ashes Farwell from the Urban Design League in New Haven has worked for decades with people all over the country, including some at the conference, about how to rebuild cities, but she doesn't follow the religious doctrine of any one idea. She thinks for herself. They could have engaged her about what's happening in New Haven that isn't all perfect, that all the building that's going on, we're not a perfect YIMBY town. So they might have considered themselves YIMBYs, but I think in New Haven, they were NIMCHYs, not in my conference hotel. Well, some shopping habits have been under discussion. Basically, how do we get people to stop buying contraband cannabis at smoke shops? Because doing every here, not just here, but everywhere. Alder Richard Furlow, making use of a new state law, has a proposal to fine people who sell illegal cannabis $30,000 at the stores. That's a big idea. If they can get past the question of whether that'll be the employees who'll get fined rather than the owners, it'll be interesting to see if that make an impact. I've always felt we could work on the demand side, which is that we do have legal dispensaries where you can be safe knowing what kind of cannabis you're getting. Most of all, Lit New Haven on East Street near Chapel is a great place, community focused. And maybe if people who buy cannabis, which they're going to do, go to the legal dispensaries and find ways to help that happen, that might be an effective way. Well, here's one of my Claire's cookbooks that I've loved over the years. Claire's Cornucopia this week celebrated its 50th anniversary at the corner of College and Chapel. Claire Criscolo and her late husband Frank, they were so ahead of the curve doing vegetarian restaurants before they became big and that kind of eating became big. And being in downtown New Haven, right at the center there, back some dark days for downtown, they were ahead of the curve of new urbanism. The city's coming back. What a great celebration. What a great restaurant. Going strong. Way to go, Claire. Meanwhile, sports season, I guess football of both kinds, gets underway. There's going to be a new sports bar in New Haven called The Rocket, opened by the people who run My Little Columbia in East Haven. So while we have long-standing restaurants going strong, we have new entries too, and that's part of what makes a great city. Till next time, this is the New Haven Independent Vlog News Summary. Remember, always take out and recycle our trash while we still can.